Hi there, good afternoon. Pretty new story here. I'm not sure if people have had much exposure to it here, but it's a pretty straightforward story that was the genesis of a merger between, or a sale of Silvercrest Mines, which was the original company founded by Eric Fear, our CEO and team. They sold the original company to First Majestic back in October of 15. This asset is it's about 25 kilometers away from the Santa Elena asset, which we discovered, permitted, financed, constructed, and built. So you got a little analogy in terms of what the execution track record could be. In terms of three things to take away from this short presentation, one is grade, the second is scale, and again, we just touched on the third, which is the execution track record there. Very high level here. Again, we talked briefly on the execution track record with Eric. That's Eric. He's a geologist. He's a mining engineer. His daughter is a geologist and mining engineer. He's got three sons who are engineers. One's a mining engineer. All work on property, the old asset and this asset. Eric's built 10 mines and been part of a team to build 10 mines in his history. So again, the one 25 kilometers away being Santa Elena is a nice analogy to our ability to move forward here. Our resource just came out in February. Before then, it was a junior company with some interesting drill holes. And today, we sit at 568 grams a ton of silver equivalent with 63 million ounces. It's roughly 50-50 gold, silver in terms of the breakdown on that front. We have some nice charts in the back of the chart there, or in the back of our presentation. We're the 7th highest primary silver deposit in the world, and we're the 4th highest grade primary silver deposit in the Americas. This was a past producing mine. From 1880 to 1930, it produced 100 million ounces of silver at 1,700 grams a ton silver, and 200,000 ounces of gold at 15 grams a ton gold. We closed on the transaction of this asset 1 month before selling our company to First Majestic. The idea was always to truck it down the road and throw it into their mill. At the time, it was late 15. Silver wasn't doing so well. First Majestic has a higher cost profile, needed our $30 million of cash and a low-cost asset. So that transaction made some sense for them. Made some sense from us in terms of leverage as we did spin this out. So their stock went up 600% in the next 9 months, so our shareholders were happy with us and their shareholders were happy with them. And we took away this asset. So again, it started off as a small little company with some historic production that was quite interesting. And again, now we're sitting here with a resource and hopefully with a PEA by Q4, Q1. We've learned a lot, not only from next door, but also from the historic track record. We've tracked down technical reports, journals, diaries, the great-grandkids of the owners here. So our execution track record today, it's been quite, it's been benefited from that historical information. We've been hitting on 70% of our drill holes, and we've been finding ounces at about 20 cents an ounce to date. We will be drilling very aggressively. We got 5 drills on the property today. In the next 3 weeks, we'll have 8. And we will have another resource update in September, so that hopefully we'll have a lot more from there. We've got about 12 kilometers of underground access that's available. We have 2 adits that are already on site. One's a 2x2, so that will need to be blown back to get production. The other is a 4x4, so again, that is ready to go in terms of the underground development for that. Some overview quickly. We just closed the financing yesterday. We're sitting at just under $22 million of cash. If your eyes are better than mine, you'll see that we have another $5.7 million in the money warrants. They don't expire till the end of 19, but hopefully they'll trickle in. If we get lucky with the drill bit or the market, we have another $7.8 million that will come in at $3. And our current share price is just under $2.30. So that money is pretty close to getting us all the way through to a feasibility or a pre-feasibility study. So for people who are looking to play some catalyst, we have ongoing drilling. We'll have the resource update in, call it September, ongoing drilling, and then the PEA that will be Q4, Q1 with what we have today. Insiders own 15% of the company. Friends and family is additional category. They own 15% of the company. And then institutions are just under 40% there. Donald Smith, he's a New York, I used to be on the sell side. Donald Smith, I got into the name early. He owns 9% personally. AGF, 9 points, the old Sprott, Gold 2000. So again, quite tightly held. Liquidity is about 150,000 shares a day. And again, once this financing's closed, hopefully we've got a little bit of running room here. Northwest Mexico, Sonora, again, 25 kilometers away from our old asset. We've been in this neighborhood for 15 years. Quite comfortable there. Hasn't been any disturbances. We had a successful union transfer about 3-4 years ago. No disruptions on that site. Strong community relations. Like I said, Eric's family works down there as well. He was a rancher from Montana. It's a ranching community. We are actually starting up a ranch plan to help with cattle, work with the ejidos, employ the ejidos, also accessing potential properties that could be little satellite deposits that could be interesting for us from a scale perspective. This is a hard to see map, but the second part of the story we talked about was scale. And we have 23 veins on the property to date, everything within 300 meters of surface. And that maiden resource only had 5 veins in it. So right now we've got our next press release will come out probably within the next 2-3 weeks. It will be on a new vein, Bobby Norte. And then after that, we will have another one probably about 2-3 weeks behind that on Area 51, and we'll get to shortly. And then Granaditas up on the top right, that's something else we're drilling at. So we're trying to show the scale here as it stands. It'll make more sense when we talk about the resource here. So today we're kind of the diseconomies of scale name. We're actually pretty light on tons, but we're rich on ounces. So that top line is kind of the summary of our resource that just came out. So 3.4 million tons at 63 million ounces. You can see the gold and silver breakdown and the 568 grams a ton average. If you were to assume a 1,500 ton a day production scenario, you would get about a 6.5-year mine life today. So not quite there in terms of size, but we could also back that off if need be. But hopefully the drill bit will get us to a much stronger scenario. I think analysts would look at that. They'll say, we'll give you credit for 75% mineable. They'll give us credit for 50 million ounces. They'll say we want to see a 10-year mine life. It gets us roughly 5 million ounces a year at about $7-8 all in. That's the same production profile as Santa Elena next door that we built. The difference is they're putting about 150, 160 grams a ton through their mill today. We're at 568. So hopefully as we de-risk that, we can show that ours could be a little bit more robust. There's one analyst at National who gives us credit for front-end loading some of the high grade that accelerates our chains that's worth taking a peek at. Bobby Canora, that's the one vein there. It's 46 million ounces. It's about 75% of the resource. That's 766. Within that is Area 51. That's the most exciting part of our property so far. You can see that the average grade there, and that is a cut and diluted number, is over 1 kilo. And that's 32 million ounces. The first drill hole that went into that was December 27th. So with the resource coming out in February, that we pulled together 32 million ounces pretty quickly. I'm not crossing my fingers we find more of those, but it would be nice. So if anyone's taking a peek at the name here, what we've got is scale potential via the drill bit without having to worry about financing for quite some time. A PEA coming out at the end of the year from someone who's built 10 mines. And something where at 150 million market cap, we are looking at a capex of about $70 million to get into production, but you'll see a firmer number by Q1 on a PEA.